Hello, hello. Welcome back again to the third installment of our live streams. We got a camera right up over here and a camera right down there. How we doing, everybody? We got Emily McBride in the shop today over here. Emily is a friend of mine from Minneapolis that worked at Foci, still does, and is a really talented glassblower artist. And we have her in our shop today, going to be making a, for lack of better words, branch. Do you have a name for these other than branch? Ephedra. A desert shrub. So let's show a little sample of what we're going to be making here. Yep, go ahead. Go ahead. So, for those of you at home that want to know what we're going to be making, eventually we're going to be making one of these. So this is one of her branches, the ephedras. So these are all hot assembled on the pipe. Very technical, very cool, very fun. And right now we're just doing a little warm up. She's just going to get comfortable in the shop, feel wherever all the tools are. All right. What are you working on, Em?
I'm going to put some little indents on here and gather over and drop some bubbles.
Nice. So she's doing a little warm-up piece. Emily's our third artist for our 10-year anniversary Decade of Fire. We're going to be having a celebration on May 21st, and these demos are leading up to it. And so this piece, maybe not this exact piece, but the pieces we make tonight are available for purchase and auction on the 21st over at Hoops Brewing. And yeah, they'll be available for purchase with a portion of the proceeds going to the Hartley Nature Center, which is dedicated to inspiring lifelong connections to children and to all through education, play, and exploration. They do a lot of kids camps, preschool, things like that, keeping kids involved outdoors. And let's chat a little bit about Emily. Emily's been blowing glass for about 15 years. Where did you start working with glass, Emily?
Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia.
Wow, she started at the Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia. Are you from over in that area, or how'd you get mixed up over there?
Pennsylvania.
You're from Pennsylvania. Very cool. What part of Pennsylvania? What do you need?
I have a blow hose.
Oh, I think I moved it. Yep.
I'm from Northeastern.
Okay. My mom's from Pennsylvania too. Just outside Harrisburg area, Sealands Grove, other places. Not anymore. Now she's in Tennessee. But very cool. Very cool. So that's where you got your start 15 years ago. Let's see what else. Her favorite thing about glass is its malleability. It's has the ability to be kind of anything. It starts as a liquid, and it's up to the creator shaping it to have it turn into anything, which is a really cool part of the process. So she's just working with a little bubble right now. If you guys are tuned in, go ahead and give us a like and a share to be entered in our drawing to win a free piece of glass art. We made a beautiful flutter bowl the other day. Just warming up here, folks, getting the bubble blown up, feeling how the jacks work, how the bench rolls. If you've seen our previous live streams, you know that working in a different shop is always kind of tricky, but you get used to it quite quick in most cases. Sure. Let me find it. So I'm going to give her a little bit of a paddle to flatten her bubble here. If you guys do give us a like and a share, though, go ahead and let people know we're tuned in. We're going to be going here for another hour or two, making some really fun stuff on this Friday night. So go ahead and let people know that we're rocking and rolling. This is just a cherry wood paddle. You'll notice it's burned black. That's just ash. It works, or excuse me, carbon. So that's why it doesn't burn anymore very much when it's on the glass. The glass just rides on that kind of bed of carbon. Have you ever done a live stream demo before, Emily? Emily does a lot of demos at FOSI in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Center for Glass Art, where she works. If you're ever in the Twin Cities area and you want to check out some glass, go ahead and stop by their new location in the Seward neighborhood. Okay. And she's ready to transfer her little cup. So I'm going to get her a punty. This is a connection rod. Let's get her one of the more straight punties. We have a wide variety of punties here. Some straight, some less straight. So this punty is just a little connection rod to transfer that cup. The hot glass is super strong. Just adding a little water to get it to tap off, and there we go. You want it back? I'm going to give it a deep flash to bring it right back to her so she can do a little readjusting if she needs. This is just getting it on center as best as possible and then letting that punty kind of cool down when it is on center. I just had the thought, Emily, that we might need to adjust some things with their long branch. So we can use that, you know, we could heat up or even turn this. Works as well.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous about the air coming in.
Right.
It's pretty cold.
We can shut it and it'll get nice and toasty.
It won't take that long. Maybe we can
Right.
open it.
No, that's okay. I got a headband if I need.
Yeah, I'm going to be using like the fluffy. I don't know if that.
It'll be okay.
From the camera.
It'll be okay.
We can also turn it.
Yeah, I normally just angle the bench a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sweet. We're just kind of talking through some logistics here of their piece that we're about to start. Almost 900.
Can we start with the other piece too?
I think that would be smart. Amber, if you do want to sneak in on that side, I can let you know when their good times are and whatnot. We got Amber Nichols in the house taking some photography, our general manager, taking some awesome photos of our live stream artists. Check her art out over at Amber Impressions on Facebook. She really loves doing photography and getting out there. We got some good elements right now. If you want to go out to the out to the lake, she likes the action shots of the weather and the storms and kind of the fun things that up north life can bring. So once again, we got Emily McBride in the house. She's just getting warmed up with a little, looks like a low ball glass here. If you want to come in too, you can. So we are going to do a couple of pieces tonight. This is just a warm-up cup. We are going to do a different fun bowl and one of her branches. I think we might start with the bowl. Is there color on the bowl? Oh, that pickup.
I was gonna complicate it a little bit.
Yeah.
And do a plunger pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looks like a nice glass for me, Emily. Perfect. If you guys do have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comment section, and somebody will probably relay it to me at some point. Right over here. So we do have our crack-off station over on the other side of the shop. I can also just grab it from you. There we go, little cup. So we're gonna go set this away and get ready for our next piece. All right, so I just do that in our annealing oven where it'll cool down nice and slow. All right. We do have some forks. Excuse me, Amber. I didn't. All right, so we got some forks out here. These are how we can heat some cane on a plate. Okay, there we go. Looks like we got a couple of options here for our stoppers. So what's going to happen is we're going to put some cane onto a ceramic plate that has been kiln washed. And we don't want those pieces of cane to roll around. So I'm just kind of looking throughout the shop for another piece of something to stop them from rolling. They're actually called ferretti in Italian, which translates to little piece of brick. And I wish I had... yeah, maybe. What about this guy?
A little big.
How do you want him? That way?
Well, yeah, that works.
Perfect. Amber saves the day again. Perfect. All right, so if you're just tuning in, welcome everybody to our live stream with Emily McBride. So this plate is super hot that she's about to lay these cane on, and that is going to act as a preheater. So you can kind of see it right in the shot there. She's just setting them all on. She'll probably let them hang out for maybe just a quick second, or sure. I bet you that's. All right, so we got these little chunks. Freddie's stopping these from rolling around. Emily's about ready to start a collar. Let me know when you want me to start heating these up. I should probably get a glove.
This color's gonna be like a blender, so it'll take a little bit.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I could set those over there. I can always warm them over here
Oh
too.
yeah, you could probably set it over there.
Okay. It's a nice part of having two benches. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, that's good. You're very.
Oh no. Little help, little help.
You're gonna need that.
They're slippery Ferrettis. Thanks. All right, we'll get these guys tidy up here. All right. Luckily, you didn't have too much breakage on there. Okay. That should work. Do you need the bench? That's nicer. This is going to be right here, so you might want to maybe come right over there. You can go on that side if you want. So she's just got a fresh gather, shaping it up with a block, getting ready to do what's known as a plunger pickup. basically we'll go straight up and down. You want, let me know when you want me to start heating them. Probably give them a.
Not later.
I'm gonna open this a little bit. There we go.
Get my butt up.
There you go.
There you go.
This piece it won't be as sensitive to the wind. So one thing being down here in Canal Park right off the lake is we do get some of these big bursts of I really want to take that corner off of that thing.
Does that happen?
All the time, every day. But we get a lot of wind that comes through in here, and when that wind hits some of these thin pieces, it can cool them down. I always say that if you feel cool, then your piece feels cool. So keep that in mind as you're working on stuff. And today it's extremely windy, nice cool breeze. And for her branch she's going to assemble, we are very considerate of that. And this piece is going to be a little bit different. So we're willing to open up that door a little bit. So she's just shaping up what will be her plunger. Emily has blown glass a couple different places, including Pilchuck, U of Louisville, and Virginia Commonwealth. She always looks to every mistake as an opportunity to do something different in order to succeed in the future, which may sound a little campy, but it really is the glass blower's credo, because you can really get beat up real quick if you spend a lot of time on something, you try really hard, and and something goes wrong. You might lose hours and hours and hours of work put into there. And there's two ways to look at failure, and a chance to give up or an opportunity to do something different and adjust for the future. And I guarantee any successful anybody has gone through plenty of failure just to get good and to persevere. Let's see some of these guys. If you guys are just tuning in, we got Emily McBride in the hot shop at Lake Superior Art Glass. Hot glass. Okay, so now she's got a open hole on the end of her plunger.
I think you can start heating that.
Okay.
Do a heat, a flip, and then a little squeeze.
Okay. So I'm going to start heating up her different colored cane. We really don't do a lot of these cane pickups. This is kind of a treat. And I'm easing these into the hole nice and slow. Emily, are you going to want me to flip these and squeeze them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need some tweezies?
I got one. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm just making sure. So on this plate of cane that I'm heating up, I'm just looking for the edges to start to soften a little bit. And the ones on the very front are always going to soften a little faster than the ones on the back. And so that's why we'll take it over to the bench and rotate it. Pick it up, flip it around, and get right back in so that the cane on the back then become the cane on the front. We get more even heat. I'm not quite seeing soft edges yet on the plate. I'm going to keep heating her up. All right. That looks good. So I successfully rotated the cane. We're going back in to start heating the opposite side first.
If you think they're hot enough, want me to squeeze, I can just come right over. Otherwise, give me another.
Do you have tags?
Yeah.
I have one and a long tweezer. So the next step here is to give them a little squeeze so that they form kind of one plate. I'm going to go a little longer. They're close to melted together, but I'm going to really make sure. You need them to really fuse into one solid plate of glass so that as she picks them up, they don't fall apart. It's always good to check. If they get too hot, they can start to warp and even fuse to the plate.
This side or?
Yep. Can we bring it over to the other bench? Okay, so we're going to bring it over to the other bench after one. Yep, exactly. Now that they're squeezed together, there's no need for the Ferretti to keep it from rolling off the plate because it is now one big section. I'm about 10 seconds, I think, Emily. Actually, I'm going to go right now. Here you go. So there we go. We press them right on. Rolls around. Beautiful. Okay. All right. I can brush them for you too if you want. They're just brushing off any of that kiln dust that might have been on there, giving them a firm press so they really stick on well. Nice size on the
Yeah, very
pickup there. This first piece is going to be one of her larger bowls, like that big thick bowl that we did before, but with a bunch of cane going through it. So I'm not sure if we have that bowl. Yeah, the large white one. So we got enough time to do kind of two pieces. So we're letting some of her other items warm up. And in the meantime, she's working on these. Amber, go get this. I'm kind of directing Amber here when there's a good opportunity to get some good shots. Normally she would be outside, but with the weather like it is, it's just not really feasible.
Perfect. So I'm going to
Snip around,
that
and I'll pull. You want me to pull it?
yeah, so we can use these.
I got some. Looks like a little life raft of boards.
Like,
Right, right. It's always fun when the glass always takes on a lot of different shapes until it reaches its final form. So right now I was commenting it kind of looks like a raft out in the ocean or something with a bunch of boards. But she's going to trim all the way around the rim of this plunger attachment that she picked up. And that's going to give us a concentric ring, or basically a circle of that cane. We don't want those corners necessarily, so she's going to get a good heat, move nice and quick so she can really trim all the way around. Faster, Emily, faster. And she's going to get another heat. Got three of the four, so that's good.
it's the wind.
It's the wind. No, she did the right thing though. Is go get more heat. Don't try to fight through it. The glass can crack or chip or kind of fall weird when it's cold like that. It's nice when you just trim a nice hot piece of glass. Woo! All right. Nice work.
So now I'm going to bring it back down, put a jackline in, and then putty it and color it.
Yep. Sounds good. So you're not going to leave any of the clear, right? You'll be left with just a bubble of the cane. Cool. So yeah, the clear in this aspect is there just to allow her to pick up that cane and to shape it around. She's going to make it a little bit more round, punty to it, and then she'll stick that onto a separate collar on a different blowpipe. Do you have the other pipe that you're looking to use? Do you want me to put one up, a little bigger one? I have a little bit bigger, nicer one.
I can use a Steiner.
Yeah, I'll find you one. There it is. All right. If you want to give us any sort of feedback on how we're doing, folks, we'd love to hear it. A like and a share will get you entered to win a special giveaway that'll be given away on the 21st. Love to hear where you're all watching from. If you're tuned in from different places of the country or world even, let us know how we're doing and where you're at. She's using a piece of newspaper there to just kind of squeeze it back down. Sounds like she's got a little hole somewhere. with all those round pieces, it's sometimes tricky to get them all to make one big plate. She's probably looking to blame Jake for not squeezing it hard enough on her pickup. But it also could be that seam to the clear.
I think that's what it is.
Right. If the clear isn't kind of quite hot enough, when you press down, there'll be little tiny areas where it's not quite sealed. But she's just going to have to work it, get it hot, squeeze it back down. I threw a little water on her paper for her so she can really get after it. She's going right for it. So she's going to ride that seam where the color meets the clear. Just create what's known as a jack line, where it's going to be kind of a breaking point for that section of color to break off of there. That looks awesome. It looks great. Looks like a brain.
Yeah.
Here we are again, finding different things that it looks like. How close are you to punting this thing?
I'm gonna try to see one more jack.
Okay. Just going to do one more jack line to constrict down, and then we'll be transferring this little section of kind of cool fold to the stripes of color as well. When you do this technique, you get almost like this, I don't even know quite what the word would be. It reminds me of an Osiris skateboard logo from back in the day. But a nice bend to the straight color that comes from that. Okay, so she's looking to transfer it. So I'm going to get her a punty started. Kind of the same thing we did with her cup in the beginning if you were tuned in then. So she sticks that clear glass right to the tip. A little bit of water to shock the glass where she wants it to break. And there we go. Taps right off. And we got an awesome little chunk of color. Woo! All right, what do you want now?
I just want to bring it back.
Sure. Scope it
I'm
out.
just gonna open it a little bit and then I'll make it smaller.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys heard that, but she's just going to open up that little section. So now that we broke it off of the clear, there is a hole on one side of it. That hole is going to be where we attach the blowpipe to again. And then we'll have that color right up against a blowpipe and can really start the final piece. It's always cool to see different stages like this, kind of an assembly line where you got to do one thing to get to the next. Should yield a really cool result in the end. Just going to kick some heat into the pipe that she's about to use. There you can see that little piece she's got. Is this hole good? Do you want this a little hotter? Is that good or? Don't play chicken with the door, Emily. I'll give you a close-up on the camera here of this piece that we've created. It's got all these colored sections wrapped around. This looks really cool. So she's creating what's known as a collar, which is a ring of clear glass that this chunk will stick to.
Yeah, do you just want to bring that
Right now?
Yeah.
So here we go. We do have a little squirt bottle too right behind you. There we go. All right, so now we are all set to start smoothing that out to start the piece. Okay, what's up next?
Just wait till you smooth it in and then gather over it.
Okay. Doing a little more heat in the hole, or is it good?
Like hotter?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think cooler would be good for the burn.
Yeah, right. I was just checking in about the heat of the reheating chamber. They are adjustable, so they can get pretty hot. They also can be cold. And in this instance, a little bit of a cooler reheating chamber would be more ideal, just so that the little branches and tiny pieces don't get too hot too quick. It can be real tricky to maneuver them if they get super hot real fast. Just using the paper to squeeze that little chunk back in. How was our break off from the punty? Not too bad. Took a little bit of color.
Took a little color.
I saw that.
This is the first time I'm making this with these.
Oh, cool.
We're making these bowls with this.
What's this technique called?
Called like a plunger pickup or a basket pickup.
A basket or plunger pickup? But you can plunger pick up a lot of different things, right? You can pick up any sort of marini or other colored sections of glass. It's kind of cool when you do it with cane because then it bends them around in that nice kind of round bend. I was curious if that picking up cane to have them create this pattern has a name at all.
Not that I know of.
We could
It's
make
kinda
it
like
a rainbow. There we go. I like Osiris. Like the old Osiris skate company. It had like the big round thing on top.
Okay, yeah.
That's all I think about. I used to skateboard when I was younger, but all right. Just gonna marver this around again. Trying to squeeze out any of those ripples or ridges. Marver is a pretty useful tool. It's just a steel table for rolling the glass. They used to be made out of marble back in the day, and then steel was invented. There she goes. She's blew a tiny little bubble in there, so it is all sealed up. Why don't you give a little shot in the camera right here so we can see what you got. Put it right up there. Yeah, there you go. Some sweet rainbow ridges of color.
Just gonna let it get cold and then heat it.
Say it again.
I'll let it get cold and then heat it up again. Just get
Cool.
it smooth.
Yep. So just gonna let it chill out a little bit, and then she'll really heat it up hot again. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a little view of what this may end up looking like as one of these big, beautiful, clear bowls on the bottom, and then the inside that you see as white would be this color that we're working with now. This is maybe a 10-pound bowl here. It is very thick, very heavy, but very pretty as well.
I'm gonna make it that
It's up to you.
See. Maybe like a little bit smaller.
Sure, but that's what we're going for.
No, God, no. You can't throw this. This furnace is really cute.
Well, thanks. It doesn't have a name yet. Maybe we can take votes for what our furnace should be named online. A lot of places will name their equipment and their furnaces. We haven't spent enough time with it to really have the name strike us, so we're gonna hang out with it a little bit longer. But we got this furnace from Canned Heat 2 years ago.
It doesn't have a name and it's 2 years old.
Well, we work a little slower up here in the North Country, okay? Takes a little bit more time to read things up here, okay? We're not as quick as you city folk. But it's been really good to us. This January, we did some servicing to it and replaced the crucible and one of the elements. And that was quite a time. You can imagine on the bottom of this, there's a bunch of refractory that pulls out, and then the whole kind of face of this thing comes off, and you're able to get up inside of the furnace and kind of replace whatever you need to in there. Ours actually looked pretty good inside. Some places, if you have a class setting, a lot of students learning to gather out of a furnace can kind of trail a lot of glass off. They can tag the doors. There's a whole slew of different things that can happen that can spill glass outside of the furnace, or excuse me, outside of the crucible in the furnace. So ideally all the glass stays inside of that crucible. The crucible is like a big ceramic bowl or a witch's cauldron, and inside of that's where we have just a pool of molten glass. I had asked Emily at Foci, I was like, how do you know when your crucible is ready to be changed out? And I think her response is, well, is it floating? Because if there's enough glass around it and below it, it'll actually start to raise itself up and just start to float just like a ship.
River Falls is like that.
Really? Yeah, so it does happen where things can build up around it. But ours was really nice. There was barely any glass that had reached the bottom. It was nice. Yep. Probably could have used crucible another couple of years. I mean, at that rate, of being nice to it. The crucible can get shocked, and that can cause cracks. Once you have a crack in the crucible, that's when all the glass can also flow right out of it and start to leak. Cracks can come from temperature shock or from any other improper usages, slamming stuff down against it. What do you think a crucible cracks from the most, Emily?
I think charging can stress out.
Yep, so she said the charging can really stress out a crucible. And the charging is where we add more glass to the furnace to get more material to work with.
Makes what you're makes what looks like a Fresnel lens
A Fresnel lens?
from a lighthouse.
Oh,
Floats in the lighthouse.
oh. So Gail, that was watching, says what you're making looks like and help me out again, I don't know the term. Fresnel?
A Fresnel lens.
Can I see the text of it? Oh, a Fresnel lens.
Oh, Fresnel.
A Fresnel lens that the lighthouses use.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Gail, that's what we're making. You guessed it. Gail is one of our dedicated students that comes and takes a lot of classes with us. I think she's up to 26 or 27 classes that she's taken, so she's really got the bug to play around with glass. So Emily's just shaping up and cooling. Now we're on to kind of the fun part of the process, is just building up some layers of clear glass around. I'm going to slide in. Everyone else is getting photos, so I'm going to get some photos too. Look at that. I love the transparency of the cane. So it allows you to kind of see right through a bunch of different cylinders bent around. It looks really pretty. Sometimes I wish the glass would stay looking like it does when it's hot like this, because it's just really cool.
I think with the cane, it looks like really.
Almost looks like fingers or something. Just doing a little show and tell here around the studio. We do have some of our employees hanging out watching, and some other folk. Woo, that looks sweet.
Yeah.
I like it from the top side, where like that, where
Yeah.
they kind of look like tunnels that go in there.
Yeah.
Really cool.
All right. Grab another gather.
How many more are we doing?
Maybe two.
Okay.
I mean, Andy Rock takes a bunch of gathers on these pipes. Or maybe not. Did this be it?
I was thinking maybe a strip and another one, but or whatever you want to do. We don't have a bigger block than the 12, so
Yeah.
you're welcome to use the paper, but
Maybe a strip.
yeah. She's using one of these cherry wood blocks dunked in water to just shape up that hot glass. Oops. And I'm just going.
Maybe I should just copy that. I'm always so bad at knowing how much glass.
I will say your other one is very big. And it's a monster.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be that big.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be. And I think even a little bit not as big, it shows off more of the detail of the cane a little bit. So she's just throwing in a little jack line. That's going to be a breaking point for that to eventually come off of that blowpipe. Sorry if I'm blocking your view here at home, but I'm just trying to shield her from a little bit of that heat. You see people work with glass, it does look like they're getting right up into some super hot stuff, and they really are. In most cases, it's really not that bad, but when you get a solid mass of glass like this, that's maybe 5-6 pounds, it's really emitting quite a bit of radiant heat. And you definitely start to feel that, especially when you put that jack line in on top of it. If you guys have taken our paperweight class, you have probably either shielded somebody or worn a sleeve around your forearm, because even with a little paperweight, you can really feel that radiant heat coming off. And this is maybe 4 paperweights worth put together, so quite a bit of material. It's looking nice and round.
Yeah, I think I'm really gonna blow into it because I like how
Yeah.
thick that cane looks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna let it cool down and then we'll do like a sculpture putty. What I've been doing is sometimes a sculpture putty like it needs to stand in the annealer.
Oh, sure.
Are we letting into it
We
now?
can.
Well,
It's still up.
because what I've been doing is like after breaking it off, I don't have to put it away right away because it's so thick.
Mm-hmm.
But then like taking a fresh gather and like putting
Making a plate
yeah
and
yeah
press it.
look for it to stand on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a guy do. A guy rented some time here to make a couple pieces and did that.
Yeah.
He said Lino showed it to him at Pilchuck
Oh, really?
years ago. You make a big solid thing. You don't want it to tip over.
Yeah, that's
Make a
what
little
happened.
cookie foot, and you just press it flat, and then just take the piece and set it on that. And then once it's cold, you just bring it out, and he just taps it on the floor,
Oh, really?
and the piece just chips right off.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. But yeah, I'll take like a sculpture paint. So I'll do a flash because it does just you just have to let it cool down. It's
Right.
like waiting.
Yep.
We can probably wait.
Right. So there's a lot of glass in here, a lot of radiant heat, a lot of thermal mass keeping it hot. So we're just kind of taking our sweet time and letting it cool down, because when we need to break this off of there, it can't be super hot. It's got to be a little cold in order to thermal shock and to break off of there. He's doing a little show and tell again, letting people check it out. Woo! It's kind of nice if you come from this side, because then they can see the side of the piece. There you go. I'll get out of the shot too. You can get right up next to the camera. Yeah, there we go. What colors do we have in there? It's like
I think it's like
salmon and citron. That is one of Emily's favorite colors to work with. How did I know that?
I'll take that sculpture, honey.
Okay. So I'm going to work on bringing her a little section of glass to transfer this from. Is this enough? Just checking with Emily if it's enough glass that I got. She's what's known as the gaffer, the one in charge of the piece and how it goes down, so I want to make sure we're on the same page. Do you want me to touch the front of this at all, or just bring it? Okay. Left-handed is how we do it here. So the sculpture punny that we're doing is a kind of a longer section of glass that she just smashes right on there and creates a constriction where it'll break off. It's called a jack line. It's pretty hot. He's got a lot of water. We do have a little squirt bottle too if you want to use this little guy up here.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I love those little deals.
Ooh, that came out nice.
Yep. And there we go. A successful transfer. Mm-hmm. We do have a bucket right here too. I can put the pipes in. So there we go. And some water to shock it, and it has broken right off. She was commenting over a clean break. That's really nice when you have this thick of a piece to have that clean break, because it means it's less glass.
Sometimes I just have to like,
Right.
like stick on the inside 'cause it's so thick.
Right.
So I'm gonna trim a little bit of that off.
Right. And so that's. Do you want the? I'll throw the torches on for you here. If it wasn't a very clean break, she would have to trim kind of some excess stuff off. And you could lose some of that cane pattern on there. All right, so I just got the okay to open up our door for a couple of quick shots from Amber. This is a super thick piece, so there's probably no possibility for this to get too cold and crack at this point. So why not get it some cool air and get some nice shots going. And you can hear the stuff falling around possibly. That wind is real. Once again, if you are tuned in, give us a like and share it right now. If you share it, you can give us We're getting blown over here trying to take photos. This is pretty intense for Amber. This is what she lives for. He's getting blown right over. It's quite the storm we got in town today. But you can get entered in a raffle to win a free piece of glass as a thank you. And that will help us get closer to 10,000 likes on our Facebook. I don't think we're quite there yet. But sure would be nice to hit 10,000 likes on our 10th year celebration. That would be great. Those cane are pretty hypnotic, seeing them twist around in there. It looks really cool. Little tunnels going around. This is going to be a longer heat. The piece broke on that back side because it was so cold on that side. And cold relative to the piece. You know, the whole piece is probably 17 to 1900 degrees, but we want that lip now to be the hottest part of the piece. So she added water and broke it off, which means it's really cold over there. So then she has to take a nice long heat to really get it hot enough to do anything with. I'm laughing because Amber's getting blown right over here. Almost lost her hat. Ooh, yeah, it is tormentuous out here. Probably not good for the branch. That would be a fun challenge, though. What are you thinking here? Are you going to trim or do you want to just paddle? I do have a wet paddle if you want to go on with that.
Yeah,
Or
what happened?
okay. Let's see where that sucker is. So the wet paddle that we're going to use is, like its name implies, wet. A lot of our paddles are dry. The wet paddle is going to create a little layer of steam as we use it, which really makes a nice clean surface, not leaving any ash or particles of wood on the glass. When it's super hot like this and you go on with that dry wood, it's just going to stick and you're going to get some funky stuff on there. Nope.
I like this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not sure if you can hear Emily's candor, what she's talking about, but she commented that she likes it. It looks cool. That's always good. Yeah, it's the first time that she tried something like this, and she's commenting how much she does enjoy it. I just enjoy seeing it twirl around a little bit with the canes looking really cool. When you get transparent cane in a tube fashion, you actually kind of see a tunnel of sorts of color that goes in because of the transparency of the cane. We got people walking by in a windy, cold storm, and we are nice and warm in the hot shop, which is one of the nice things about blowing glass in Duluth, is it's nice and cool. We get free AC up here. I think in Minneapolis or near the cities tomorrow it's supposed to be closer to 70, whereas we're barely hitting 40, so I enjoy it. You want it?
Not yet.
Okay. There you go, nice.
A few more times.
Couple more times. You got any questions, comments on the piece or on Emily and links for art glass? Go ahead and let us know about them. All right, our Annealer is up to temp 2 with the work for her next piece, so that's good.
How did it look in there? They don't look slumpy or anything?
Yeah, they're all slumped.
They are?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it looks good. Slumping in glass is where it starts to slump, like the name implies. And it's actually a technique that a lot of kiln workers do use. You'll first fuse something into a plate, and then you fuse it in a slump program.
The littlest paddle.
I know. Seen some things. You want to use this too? Just setting her contour here with her jacks. It's looking pretty nice. Let's see. So to take this guy off, we were talking about it, that we are going to set it on a little patty of glass, kind of a cold patty of glass, so that it just barely sticks. We don't want it to fuse to this chunk, but we also don't want it to slump or to sag on that chunk of glass. If that little piece of glass isn't hot enough, the bowl won't stick to it. So we'll let it cool down just a little bit, maybe press it flat, and then we'll rest this bowl on top of that, so that when we put it into the kiln, it doesn't tip over or roll or slump. Kind of a cool technique. There we go. Yeah.
It's hard to get that. The hook is hard.
If you want to come over there too, you can. This piece will be available for purchase if you are interested in purchasing it. We are not sure exactly when necessarily or which one. She is making 2 pieces, so ideally one of those will be in our auction on the 21st. And this piece might go into our VIP party potentially happening on the 20th. And that's kind of yet to be determined. I'm not sure if we're sharing. Do we share any of the photos of the work, or do we kind of save it until the day of? Okay.
Might show some tidbits. Like
Might
small
show
tidbits.
some little tidbits, I guess, some little sneaks, but we really want to kind of draw some attention to seeing them in person on the 21st over at Hoops Brewing and the Ripple Bar in Canal Park, where we're going to be having our 10-year Decade of Fire celebration from 6 until 10, I believe. Around about then, check our Facebook page and event for more information on our 10-year anniversary party. It should be a really, really fun time and good to see everybody in the community together and just kind of reflect and enjoy and see some awesome pieces. We are going to have a silent auction the day of, so you can place your bid and see if you can take home one of the awesome pieces that are going to be around. We do also have a collaboration on a beer that we're going to be doing, a beverage. Okay. Tonight she's got good heat up in the Lip of the piece, it is glowing nice and orange. We're going to give it another paddle. Whew. I need a longer paddle. There you go. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. There it is. Very cool. Emily's going to take a couple of quick photos or video for her own documentation. This is the first time that she's done one of these with this style of color application. So it's quite common that when you're seeing something that you're excited about, to take a quick little video of it so you can see it later on tonight. She's going to give you a little shot of the glass there and the pattern she's got going on. And look how thick that thing is. It's really a chunky little boy there, which is really cool. The optics of the clear make that color really sparkle and glisten in the light, which is one of the nicest things about glass, is that it's able to be transparent.
Yeah, how should I do this? I can glove up and then catch it?
I can drop a patty if you want to squish it, and then I can tap the piece off. Or
Tap it and then get the patty?
oh, because it's so hot.
Yeah, it's so thick, I'll just kind of like
Okay,
with it.
sure.
So maybe I'll glove that?
I got graphite over here, unless you want to tap it off over there. But here's the gloves.
And then I'll have to...
So we're getting ready to take this piece off. If anybody in the gallery or in the shop wants to see it up close or get a good photo, whee, the parade, whee. Would you prefer that this goes in the other annealer? It might come down a little slower. This one is definitely a little bit quick, and it's kind of near the front.
Oh, I just don't know where to put it in that annealer.
Just back underneath to the left. If you go like behind the cullet, you can suit up. We got a face shield, and I think if you want to,
Standing because it's kind of softer.
right.
What kind of pattern is that?
Quick. We could maybe put in a plate. We could put in your kiln plate, and then you could set it on that plate if it was warm.
Good idea. Yeah.
If it's warm, I'll throw that in there right now. Let's see. So she's worried about it not being totally flat in the annealer, and then she sets this thing in and it could wobble. So I'm going to give her a little plate to set it on so it'll be sturdy. We got a little bit of time yet for that to warm up inside there. You don't want to set a nice hot piece on a cold plate, but I think with a little bit of time we should be just fine. This is going to flash down for another couple hour. Flat.
I mean, I feel this hotter too. Do you have that 1050?
Yeah, you should be fine. You got the button, and you'll have the patty, and
Yeah.
I think it'll heat that plate up pretty quick.
Standing at
So currently we're just kind of flashing it down. What that is just doing a couple of quick intermittent heats over the whole piece to equalize the heat. The inside, when you get a big thick mass like this, the inside's always going to be a little bit warmer than the very outside. And so she's just doing some quick little flashes, and then that'll let the inside cool down and the outside slowly cool down.
Do you have a facial?
Yeah. All right. We're getting closer here. I think she's ready to suit up. And turn this a little bit so you guys can see that pattern on the inside. So Emily's layering up in some protective gear. That kiln is a little hotter than it normally is, which it normally is really hot already. Are you done flashing? We're all good? Okay. We'll do one more quick heat. Ready? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to add a little bit of water on the very bottom of that connection. And a little tap, it breaks off.
And you want to grab that patty?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. And then flip it over.
I have a paddle if you want me to flatten it real quick. So that is not going to be part of the piece. That is just going to be so it doesn't tip over and stays put. All right, and this piece is just about ready to go in the box once it's not moving around anymore. And a round of applause for Emily. Woo! And here we go. All right. Woo! Yeah, nice work. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, to our first piece. Actually, I guess that was our second piece with Emily McBride. We're going to take a quick little intermission here before we start up the next piece. So stay tuned. Go grab a little bite to eat or a little something to drink and go use the restroom and get right back into the seat because we're going to start a fun branch assembly coming up next. Are back in action with a little readjustment, and we're on to our second piece. If you just tuned in and didn't see, we made a nice bowl earlier, and now we're on to her ephedra branch assembly. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I thought it said ephedra, but who knows. So here we go. Emily's got a little bit of hot glass. She's going to go pick up one of her chunks. That guy's been soaking in our kiln there. And with a quick flash, making sure it's warmed up. She's going to adjust it a little bit. So we saw a really cool style of cane pickup, and now we're going to see a totally different style of glass making where we do some assembly. Assembly is where you pick up different pieces of glass and then heat them up and stick them together. Let me know if that fan's too much, but yep. Oh, do I just go right down the line?
Yeah, you just go down the line. I just like number them so I know where to go.
Okay. When do you want me to start?
I think you can start.
Okay. So I'm going to help her by picking up different little sections to then be attached on. And the best way to pick up little sections is by sticking it onto a hot piece of glass. Do you want to grab the door, Julia? Yeah. Yep. And can you brush this? I guess I can brush it. Here we go. Make sure there's no dusties on there. And are you ready for me to come over?
Yeah.
She's using our hot torch to heat up both sections. And there we go. The first one's on.
So I try to like keep it pretty narrow and long to start out with, so that. But no, that's good for that.
You let me know when you want me to grab the next one.
I'll let you know.
Yep. Just let us know. Okay, I'm grabbing it. Just kidding, I'm kidding. Too much kidding around. That's what's going on here. This is super serious.
I tend to like hold my breath for the entirety of the piece, so.
I'm not sure if you can hear it at home, but Emily said she's holding her breath the entirety of this piece, folks. So if you do see her start to wobble around a little bit, give us a comment and we'll get right we'll get right on it.
Alright, you can grab it.
Okay. One of them rolled off. No, we'll just brush it off. We'll just brush it off if it gets stuck.
Yeah, like those little slits.
Okay.
So this is gonna fly nearby.
Okay. She's torching both areas here to get a good conjuncture. And there we go. And it begins. Making a coat rack. Yeah.
You can just grab it right now.
Okay. So I'm just picking up these little sections and bringing it over for
All right, ready?
Emily. All right. 3. Ah, ah, ah. And I'll grab this next one if you want to grab that.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. We got some fun colors on this one. A whole rainbow, it looks like, inside there. So I'm just flashing them, keeping them hot, and then bringing them right over. Woohoo! Looks like a long finger. All right, about ready to grab another one. Notice she's keeping some good heat in the back end of that piece. That's known as the moil. That long branch shape like that, the back side of it is going to really start to get cold because she can't heat it very long because all these little branch sections, these little sticks, are going to start to bend and fold. That's where the fluffy comes in, so you can spot heat little areas. Awesome. Are those breaking off easy enough for you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. More heat. I gotta get more heat. All right. Just dusting off any particles from the annealer. What's that? Okay. Emily's letting me know she's gonna flash so I can time things a little bit better. We do have a nice big hole on that other hole, the other reheating chamber, 16 inches and almost 2.5 feet long. So plenty of room for her to be kicking heat into everything on there. And here goes another branch. Another stick. Just gonna have to turn that fan off. The fans really feel nice because it's nice and hot in the shop. But as I stated earlier, you gotta be real cautious having air blowing around when you have a long, fragile thing like this. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, just close it.
There's extras in the back.
Okay, that's okay. Just watch out for the, yeah, for that area. I can actually open it, yeah, or if you just want to close it. Yeah, go ahead. Nice and gentle. That bowl rocks real easy back there. So we got Amber helping us in the hot shop today. Not necessarily her forte, but might be the first time you've ever helped out that I recall. You ready? After a flash? Okay.
Never in doubt, it's fine. Especially on this. Never the pattern.
What the frick? What?
Did that just fall out?
Oh yeah, they're big
Got big openings?
spirals. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Emily, do you try to put them together where other one has been applied? Is that?
What's that?
Do you always try to put them on the same kind of juncture like that? Does it make it stronger to kind of have multiple ones on there?
No, well, I just start with the branches.
Uh huh.
So this is the last of the branches. And that one's just so straight. So I try to make it long first.
Okay.
So that it fits in the glue.
Got you. So she's trying to make it nice and long before she starts to go to the side.
Once you like start going wider, it gets weird.
If you guys are just tuning in, go ahead and hit the share button. Let other people know that you're watching something sweet. You'll get entered to win a free piece of glass art from Lake Superior Art Glass. You ready? Huh? Flash? Yep. Okay. Yep. No, that's fine. This piece you're seeing will be auctioned off on the 21st of May for our 10-year anniversary. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we're doing all these awesome live streams. Okay. Woohoo! It's looking sweet. So I think that's all the more length we're gonna go. And now we're gonna start to work outwards and give it a little bit of a larger diameter. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We got quite a few people in here that are able to relay if there's any questions on anything, but this is and another one on. I think we got maybe 6 or 7 more in there. I'm reusing the same punny, and I gotta heat it up so it's hot enough to stick to these little guys. All right. There we go.
I think I'm using like the whole length of the cord holder.
Are you hitting the back?
No, but I'm like almost there.
Well, you'll know if you use the full length of it because it'll touch the back. Which is always...
Almost the full length. This is
I don't know if I've ever hit the back of that one. I've definitely hit the back of this one, but that one is pretty deep. It's really nice. I don't encourage you to find the back, but it's nice. Yep.
It's like a funny slide out of the bench.
Yeah. You might want to move that bucket a little bit back. Yeah. Just move it over a little bit so she doesn't hit it.
Oh, it's fine. It's just like the glory hole to the bench.
It's the zigzag.
Oh, zigzag.
That's how the Italians do it. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All right, here we go. Another one in. Emily's just commenting on the path that she has to take to get back to the hole. Working on these tight quarters. And especially with the length of the piece that she's making, we had to kind of angle our bench so that we don't hit the door with the back side of my rod when I bring these over. And so that means when she goes to the hole, she has to kind of step backwards and then step forward and back around, and she's doing it just fine.
She's kind of out of order.
Do you want to flash? You're okay. Are some thicker than others?
Yeah, but usually the spinner ones go after the thick ones.
Right.
I mean, it's all random colors, so.
Yeah. Gotta watch out hitting those other branches when I tap up. Yeah, you could. Yeah. It's heating up in the shop. Without that door open, it is definitely heating up. I'm gonna get a little more heat.
Cozy.
It's cozy, right? It's nice when you get to look outside into rain and wind and be nice and hot in here.
Well, before we put this away, we gotta remember to turn down that kiln.
Right. Let me know when we're getting close and I can drop it. This is a little skinnier one, I think.
There, we might just need two more.
I think there's two more, and then there's one that rolled over too, if you want that one or not. But
Let's go with the next two, and then we'll see.
okay. Let me know if you want to torch your moil or hang out for a second. We got a green one on right now, and then I think two yellow or citron, or not the same color yellow ones, but and then there's a green one that rolled around. So
Got a topic for you guys.
yeah,
Phoebe said, I noticed Emily put her curtain piece into some type of hot box. Not sure what it's called. How long does it stay in there? Or go to another place?
yeah. Well,
Whole process finishes after the piece is created.
sure. That's a good question. So when the piece is finished, it goes into what's called an annealer, Annealer, and that's a hot oven or a hot box, just like you called it. And it's going to sit there and just kind of at a stable temp of 950 degrees until we run a cycle. And so just like your oven at home, we can run different temperatures on our annealers. And what that does is let it cool down nice and slow. And certain things need to be cooled down a little bit slower than others. So the thicker the item, the longer it would take to cool down to room temperature, because the outside insulates the interior of that piece. And if it continually does that as it cools down, you're going to have molecular stress. So the inside is going to be a little bit warmer than what the outside is, and that differential would carry on all the way until room temperature. resulting in stress in the glass. And that doesn't always mean it's going to break immediately. Doesn't mean it's going to break in the next year. It might break in 100 years, but or it might never break, but there is stress in there. So the annealer is basically a slow cooling oven um, that lets the glass not be stressed out. And so if you ever do work with glass or take a class with us, you won't be able to go home with what you create. You'll have to wait till the next day. Usually we tell people around 1 or 2 o'clock to pick your item up, because if you didn't want to wait, well, then your item is going to be cracked and you'll have a bunch of little pieces. So if you want something to stay intact, you gotta cool it down nice and slow. They do the same process in a lot of steel manufacturing or pottery and ceramics. They run a slow cool to equalize the temperature throughout the piece as it does cool. With that,
I think that we can set the annealer down back down now.
after this one?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think this is it.
right. There's one more in there if you want to.
I think I like how it looks.
Yeah, it's got good symmetry.
Joanne, I through the door.
It really feels branchy, doesn't it, on there? All right, so we are all done with, you can come forward out of there, get some photos, Amber. And let's see, we are going to adjust something here. All right, folks, so we have her assembled ephedra on there, her branch, for lack of better terms, with all the different colors. Now these colors are going to change as it cools down, and this guy would really look cool in the sunlight. I think these are designed to just kind of rest on the side. But who knows, if you're crafty, you could always create some sort of nice stand or a mount for this to sit in your home. How are we going to put this away? Glove it or just, okay.
I'm gonna glove it. So I'm gonna hot torch up near that near the edge and then kind of cut it.
Okay,
And then put a little water on it probably.
do you want someone to catch it or do you want to catch it? Or you want me to catch it?
I want you to
Okay. So that means I'm in suit up duty. I'm going to throw on the proper protective equipment. So you can see when she gets that heat that those little sticks and branches, they are still moving around a little bit. Here's the parade. Let her see. Yeah,
can't really see it on the camera much.
a little bit. They're definitely getting a shot of it. And to really see the best, you're going to want to come check us out in person on May 21st at Hoops Brewery, where we'll be displaying the pieces that we make on these live streams for the first time. If you would be so kind to click attend to our event page on Facebook. Yeah, it's at 960 and dropping.
Slump. It's too hot.
I put it to 920 of a resting temp, so it's just kind of slowly coming down.
Alright, just a few more flashes.
Okay. Couple more, yeah. Yeah, you should be okay. I'll work around you. So a portion of the proceeds will be going to the Hartley Nature Center. with this piece, and this will be auctioned off on the 21st at Hoops Brewery. Our next live stream is going to be on April 29th with Derek Hostetler. Check out our Facebook page for any more details about that and any future live streams or events. And just thanks again for tuning in with Emily McBride. We had Julia Neubauer Truder helping out. Trader. I don't know if she's recently married, had a different last name, so hopefully I didn't butcher it too bad. But we're all in here, and it's definitely a hot shop on a cool day, as it is toasty. Meanwhile, I am all gloved up here, getting ready to catch a branch. I'm just resting the Kevlar gloves against some of this radiant heat coming out of our other reheating chamber. The gloves can be kind of cold, and when you got these little tiny branches and sticks like that, I don't want to shock them. And so I'm just going to preemptively warm the mitts.
Put your mic inside. Your mic was outside.
I think this is the last flash.
Okay, that's the last flash. Is the glorious term in glass blowing, where it's the last time we're going to be heating something before we remove it off of the rod. Someone ready to open the door? Julia, you can probably go get ready.
Okay. Are you gonna want to flash again? I usually don't, but you never know. What is you?
Yep. Yep. Open real quick. Perfect. Cool. Woohoo! All right. Nice work.
Thank you.
So- all right. Emily, do you want to say anything?
Thanks for inviting me to work in your studio. It's really great.
Cheers. Thanks for having you. It's been a
Thanks for whoever watched. I'm not sure how many people watched, but thanks for tuning in.
Yep, and you can always share it and watch it again in the future. We'll have it on. And thanks again for tuning in. Our next live stream is going to be next Friday. So set your calendar alarm for a week from today, and we'll have Derek in the shop making something else for you. And thanks again, everybody, for tuning in.